Sup, it's Sydney, and welcome to That's What Sid Said. Welcome to a Thoughts. Welcome to, I don't know if this even needs a title, but now I'm gonna sometimes do commentary, so. Yeah. If you're panicking about me diversifying my content a little bit, just remember that I literally was Beauty Queen 18 at one point. And honestly, don't worry, I'm still gonna be making college videos all of the time. I'm not going away from that. This is just like an additional thing that I wanna try because shockingly, I do have passions outside of crying about college. Plus, 2021 hit and I realized I'm not gonna be in college forever. And if I only make videos about college...
Don't panic! No, I am, because I'm gonna lose my job!
Also, another silver lining, I decided to make New Year's resolutions. And I'm going to try, but not guaranteed, to post a video every Sunday. So, honestly, even if you skip all of my commentary videos because you don't like them, you'll probably get more content than you did last year. I just feel like you guys deserve a little bit more consistency from me, and my ad revenue thinks the same way. My god, I didn't actually mean to cough. What's thinking about? Kid Nation. And if you've never heard of Kid Nation, oh baby, buckle up. Kid Nation was a reality show that aired on CBS in 2007. And the 2007 shows.
I bring world peace to Africa with all the orphans, especially to Iraq, and that'd be the #1 place that needs world peace.
The entire premise was to throw kids isolated from a greater society in a town of their own without any adult supervision to see if they could form a functioning society. Sound familiar? 40 kids aged 8 to 15 were cast from all around the US to participate in this 40-day experience, I don't even know what to call it. As you might be able to guess, this show only lasted for 1 season. I mean, I'm shocked it even made it to air at all, considering they had kids haul water, use outhouses, cook for themselves, and I wasn't seeing any Kraft mac and cheese anywhere. This is what I looked like when I was 8. Does she look like she could put up a fight? How did this make it to air? The show wasn't scripted and the kids could theoretically do as they pleased. However, CBS didn't want to air pure anarchy because we get that enough as is in the US. Therefore, a general structure was implemented to ensure that each episode's contents had enough entertainment value to appeal to television audiences. So, let's go over what happened in the episodes. The show's structure had 36 kids represent the town's regular, plebeian population, and 4 were like the chosen ones from God that ascended from a literal helicopter, and they were the town council. Obviously, the job of a typical town council is to lead the town, but because this is reality TV and not the Stanford prison experiment, I think the town council was selected, 1, to be dramatic.
Ugly people can put on makeup and they look pretty. Chickens can't do that. I tried that to my dog once and it still didn't work.
Girl, bye!
And 2, I'm pretty sure their role was initially constructed so that the producers can maintain a certain level of control throughout the series. If Kid Nation was really meant to be a true social experiment like the show was kind of marketed as, they would have let the 40 kids hash out their own governmental structure, but I'm pretty sure the town council was just an easy way for the producers to strongly encourage situations to unfold on screen. This strong encouragement came in the form of an old journal. And yes, we're doing a lot of air quotes because this is reality TV and nothing is ever reality. And basically, if you were on town council, you would read from this journal that would outline a problem or suggestion that should be made to the town, and then you would just do it. For example, during the first episode, the town council reads the journal and it says that they should split up the town into 4 equal districts, 1 for each town council leader, so that they would have smaller groups and so that the town would just be more organized. And they were like, okay. But of course the producers don't want to seem like they're outright influencing the kids to do something because that would go against the entire town's charm of, look, they're leading a society all on their own. So the production team disguises this tactic by claiming that the old journal was written by previous inhabitants of Bonanza City. Yes, that's the town's name. The journal was literally just invented for the storyline, and I'm saying this like it's obvious because if you look at the journal, It's obvious. They couldn't have tried a little bit harder. It literally looks like an intern Google searched old-timey fonts, wrote some random shit down, threw it on the ground, stomped on it for the distressed look, and then was like, look kids, it's from the 1800s. So needless to say, it's pretty obvious to viewers that the journal is fictitious, but keep in mind that these are literal children, aged 8 to 15, who are reading this journal on screen with a bunch of camera crews pointing at them. So obviously they just take it at face value and do whatever it says. The journal says we should implement religious services even though we know that will cause division and we haven't really seen it as a problem before. Okay. The journal says we should implement a curfew that's the same for both older and younger children, knowing that the older children will rebel against it and we're becoming a dictatorship. Okay. But like I said, it was a way for structure to emerge and to set up kind of a general formula for every episode. So at the beginning, the town council would go, read this stupid-ass book, and then take away some sort of conflict from it that they didn't really see before but now feel like they have to address, present those findings to all of the other kids who would then be like, what the f-? Another element of each episode was a competition in which the districts that I talked about earlier would compete against each other, and usually these challenges related to what the conflict was about. How your district did in that competition would then determine your economic structure and your job responsibilities. So it was a literal hierarchy. If you did the worst, you were the lowest class, the laborers, and you got paid the least and had to like clean toilets. Again, I think this was another way for production to implement structure that was applicable to both the kids and also to the fact that they're filming a TV show. It was kind of like the best of both worlds, Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus situation. The production crew would get entertaining content of 10-year-olds screaming at each other to jump in a vat full of beans with pigs and find cans faster, which is fun for TV audiences. And then the kids would get someone that has to clean the bathrooms. Really great. But if that wasn't enough 10-year-olds screaming at each other, there was also a twist where if all of the districts completed the challenge, they could opt for an additional reward for the entire town. And it was always a choice between something the town needed or more of an essential good, like toothpaste, or additional outhouses. Yes, they didn't have either of those. And the other option would be something that would tempt the kids into pure anarchy, like go-karts, and full-blown arcades, and a 45-foot water slide, and a disco pizza dance party, and frickin' ponies. So you'd have the journal reading, you'd have the challenges with a bunch of stuff in between, but then the concluding part of every episode was a town hall meeting. This meeting would serve as an opportunity for any child to elect to leave the show prematurely and go home, aka I'm pretty sure CBS was trying to cover their ass. CBS probably thought that if the children could voluntarily elect to leave at any time, that they could avoid lawsuits. But they couldn't avoid them all. That's a whole separate can of worms. And separate part of the video. Besides having the ability to leave basically at any time, you know what else makes people shut up and not sue? Money. A lot of money. So to spice things up even more, at every town hall meeting, the town council would select one person to receive a gold star. Worth its weight in gold. Literally. $20,000. The shock value that this added to the show, because during the first town hall meeting, none of the kids had any idea that this was an opportunity for them, and to see them all get so excited at the prospect of winning $20,000 that could quite literally change their entire future. I mean, come on, that was cool. But each kid should have 100% been compensated thousands of dollars for appearing on the show, because no matter what way you cut it, they are the stars of the show, and they were an employee.
You would do it too for a check.
However, a lot of kids started to change how they act after learning about the $20,000 incentive that would come every couple days. Which, like, no shit, it's $20,000. I'm just saying, I feel like it was already very challenging to try and be natural and make all this food for yourself when you're in an entirely new environment with brand new people that you've only known for a couple of days. Like, they're already trying so hard not to publicly embarrass themselves on national television, and now you're throwing money into the equation. And there were only 13 episodes, meaning that only a handful of the kids had their gold star moment where they won $20K, and the other kids were just left with the relatively small compensation that CBS did give them for being on the show. Which, by the way, I heard was $5,000 in a Nintendo Wii, and I can't verify that, but bruh. If they weren't worth $20K, sure, go for it. If it was just like a little confidence booster or congrats, you were the best person in town, but adding the $20K was a little bit too much, and a lot of kids put up a facade, which, yeah, me too, sis, I want $20K. I just kind of wish the show left that part out, paid them more fairly, and then that way the show could have existed more organically. This whole cycle of reading the journal, participating in the competition to get your job, and then rewarding someone with a gold star would last for about 3 days and would create enough content for one episode. The last thing I'm going to say in this section before we move into the show's controversies, yes, C's, plural, is that the reason I'm not breaking down every episode is because I want you to experience this insanity firsthand. All of the episodes of Kid Nation are available for free on YouTube, and I have a playlist linked down below. You just need to watch it, because I had to watch it when I was in middle school, and I just remember us as middle schoolers looking at other middle schoolers trying to decide if they should continue eating pasta mush or if they should slaughter a chicken with their bare hands. Yes, that actually happened. Cap or not cap, according to the cast. The kids were alone throughout the entire series. Cap. They weren't. Don't get me wrong, the kids did all of the hard like scrubbing the dishes, but they were also surrounded by camera crews and Jonathan Karsh. Jonathan Karsh was the host of Kid Nation and the only on-screen adult, but he really just existed to explain every episode's challenge, the reward options, and then piss off all the kids with his frequent narration of their struggles.
Redistrict, you're way behind!
Can you shut the f*** up?
Michael, who is a participant on the show, actually posted a Reddit AMA that has been verified by Reddit, and he talks a lot about what was true and what was false on the show, so I will have that, of course, linked down below. It was very apparent that we were involved in a production process. There were 12 camera crews. Each had a cameraman, an assistant to the cameraman, a sound technician with a boom mic, and an associate producer to direct what they should be capturing. In reality, we weren't that alone at all. That being said, they offered very little guidance or scripting. Our actions were dictated by us alone for the most part. The kids were definitely responsible for making their own food and cleaning their own dishes, and the adults didn't come in to help them. That's not cap. Somehow. In an interview with Jontron, Jimmy, who was actually the youngest participant on the show, confirmed this.
For the most part, we ate what they cooked, and they had, like, it was horrible.
What the kids cooked.
Yeah.
And when asked if adults would come in and re-clean the dishes after the kids did them, Michael simply said, "Oh God, I wish." So that's reassuring. The kids had no contact with the outside world, including their parents. This wasn't cap either. Yikes. They actually could only call their parents if they won a gold star. So not only did you get $20,000, but you got your only chance at outside communication with the people who birthed you. Apparently another contestant, Sophia, who was also a queen by the way, stole a phone, and then production was super pissed about it. All of the events written in the old journal were actual problems the kids experienced. Yeah, that's cap. I already kind of joked about this earlier when I talked about how the journal mentioned religion, but a lot of these issues didn't really exist, but you could tell the producers kind of wanted them to. Michael said that production would even resort to inventing problems out of thin air that they already had solutions for. For example, there was an episode about trash disposal. We had been disposing of trash ourselves effectively up to that point. They bought trash and dumped it in the town, then told us we had to take care of our massive trash problem. Now, all that said, our reaction to these constructed events and the conflicts they produced were organic. Kids were picked at random to preserve the experimental aspect of the show. Hell no, that's cap. It's reality TV. They went cherry picking in specific states for specific reality show cliches. You have Greg, asshole farm boy from Nevada, Alex, smart Asian, Sophia, overeducated, charming, neurotic, me, kid with long hair that likes to say hippie-ish things from Seattle. Another participant from the show, Anjay, echoes this sentiment in an interview he did with Eric Barber on his channel.
Do I think I got picked for the show because I was a brown nerd and that fit with a bowl cut and that fit a stereotype? Yes.
I think that had something to do with it.
Bonanza City was a real town prior to the show. That's cap. Do you really think anyone would name their town Bonanza City? The town was just a movie set. It's been used for cowboys and aliens. A kid drank bleach. You're probably hoping I'm gonna say cap, but you know that I'm not going to. That's not cap. The kid, DK, actually clears up the situation on a different interview on Eric Barber's channel, but I think it was pretty clear that it was an accident and that production was really fast to make sure he was treated.
Typically there would be different flavors in them, and there was one that I assumed was like the lemon flavored one. Grabbed it, poured it in these like shot glasses, and then we had our sodas and like drop it in.
Quick intervention, is no one gonna talk about the fact that these kids literally did Jaeger bombs with root beer?
So this party, it's for everyone to have fun.
I remember the collab thing, and then, because again, drama queen, but also bleach. And then I was like, they put me in a trailer, like away from all the other kids and stuff, and like there was a medic and there was like a whole thing, and then but basically they just diluted it, and then I like slept, and then like they like brought me food, and it was like burger and fries and pizza, and then I felt better, and then I went back to the town, and it was kind of like this thing was like, yeah, like I got to eat.
A different kid burned herself and then her parents sued. And this isn't cap either, which brings us to lawsuits. There isn't really much to say about the lawsuits because nothing ever came of them. Basically, her parents didn't sue until after she came back, and production had already got her on camera saying that she was completely fine and that it was just an accident, so oops. The show was highly controversial, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that CBS or the producers actually wanted to cause harm to children, and any claims of mistreatment were investigated and then dropped. Honestly, once again, I'll let Mr. Michael, king of the show, kind of share his opinion on this because I think that I have a very similar opinion, and also he has credibility from being on the show. They got her on camera saying, oh, this isn't a big deal, this happens all the time. Funnily enough, this was her longest line the entire show, I think. Coincidence? Far from it. They wanted to cover their ass and show what was really going on, which was that the lawsuit was solely about seeing an opportunity to make bank in an overly litigious legal system. Once again, I'm not saying that the show was 100% safe or that I support the conditions that these kids were working in because they were bad, but technically CBS did follow all of New Mexico's rules at the time, which were changed immediately after. It might be sad that it took a Lord of the Flies-esque show to improve child labor laws to something more acceptable, but at least it happened. Welcome to America. Why Kid Nation got canned? Do we really even have to ask that question? There isn't one specific reason cited as to why Kid Nation ended after one season, but I think we can all speculate here. I would guess that it was the culmination of lawsuits, changing child labor laws, and 40 kids, 40 days, hauling water, no adult supervision, sleeping on the ground, only having one outhouse in the beginning. It was destined for disaster. In fact, the New York Times reported that it was likely the broadcasters chose their filming location as New Mexico because of New Mexico's weaker child labor laws in the early 2000s. Actually, New Mexico even passed stricter child labor laws 2 days before Kid Nation started filming, but because of the whole legal process, these rules didn't go into effect until a month after Kid Nation finished wrapping. So, needless to say, unless CBS was simultaneously filming seasons 1 and 2, Kid Nation was destined to be a one-hit wonder. And I don't think the plaintiff of the lawsuit would really call it a hit. In conclusion, from a legal and entertainment and psychological perspective, I have no idea how this show happened. It seems like a fever dream, and I love it. That's gonna be it for this video. I know it was probably longer than usual, weirder than usual. I don't know how I did. I'm feeling kind of stressed about it, but I hope that you guys liked it because it was honestly fun for me. If I somehow did a good job during my first commentary video, please let me know by giving this video a thumbs up because I am scared. But of course, if you also have something constructive to say, leave me a comment on how I can improve this style of video. Is there something you didn't like? Is there something that I could add to make it better? I really like hearing your guys' opinions. And if you want to, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. But that's literally it. This was so long, but I loved it. Bye!
Twilight.